Good morning, everybody. Sunday morning. You are tuning in to Rebel Saints Meditation Society in Seattle. That's where I am, Inner Meditation Society. And I'm streaming here for Rebel Saints and for Against the Stream Meditation Center in Los Angeles. And there's people here from all over, from Seattle, from LA, from Boston, from all around the country. So welcome. Good to see everybody this morning. So I will offer a talk today and a meditation practice that we'll do together. And then there'll be an opportunity afterwards to do some discussion about the practice and your experience with the practice this morning. The topic this morning is forgiveness. So you can leave now if you want. I welcome you to stay though. And forgiveness. You can just take a moment and even if you want, even close your eyes and notice the word forgiveness. How does it sound to you? How does it feel in your body to hear that word, forgiveness? And if you close your eyes, you can open them. I know for me this morning, it just sounded irritating. The idea of forgiveness. Annoying, just irritating, kind of pissed me off a little bit. So if you feel that way, if it felt like nails on a chalkboard or something, not surprised and fine. And for some, it might feel like a relief or something welcome to do or to try to do. I know there was a time in my life when there was a big betrayal in my life, horrible betrayal. It took me years to recover from. And I knew forgiveness was the answer. And I wanted to forgive so bad because I knew I would have some relief, but I just couldn't do it. I couldn't do it yet. I wasn't ready yet. I was still too hurt. Um, you know, Meaning I could attempt the forgiveness, I could do the meditation, I could read the books, I could listen to the reasons why forgiveness was a good idea, all of that. And I needed that and I wanted that because I so badly wanted to forgive. But I wasn't able to actually forgive yet because it was just still so painful. So maybe some of you are in this place where you just want to forgive so bad and not quite able to do it yet. So my experience with forgiveness is it's a process, it takes time and it takes training. Some of us are naturally a little bit more forgiving than others, and it doesn't matter. We can all do it. We all have the capacity to forgive if we train our minds, if we put some practice in. Because for a lot of us, it's not our kind of wired and normal response. If someone hurts us or if something hurts us or if we hurt ourselves, our ingrained reaction because of our survival mechanism is to hate it, is to not like it, is to have ill will toward it, push it away, get it away from me. So here we're looking straight at the stuff that often we want to avoid. So today I'd like to put the focus on the question of, do you have a resentment? Are you resentful? Are you holding a grudge against someone in particular? And no judgment here about this. This is a place, I believe, Sangha community is a place where we can talk about these attitudes and feelings and ways that we react to life and hurtful people and hurtful situations that make us suffer. And we can be honest about that. Sometimes I see in spiritual communities and meditation communities, people don't want to be honest about the fact that they might have a resentment or they might be pissed off or something. And when that stuff is hidden, when we don't talk about it, we're not able to support each other in the practice. There can be a lot of just hidden resentments and problems. So bringing this out into the light. Resentment. Do you have a resentment? Do you have a grudge? Are you holding on to something that could be forgiven? So I think it's can be skillful to think maybe there's a person. When I asked, do you have a resentment? Maybe there's a person. Maybe for you, there's a group of people. Or maybe you have institution. There's institutions, systems that maybe you have resentment about. So the question is, do you have resentment? And you could just pick one today and for contemplation. And does resentment hurt? Does resentment make you suffer? Does resentment make you stressed out? Does not forgiving, holding that place of not forgiveness, hurt you? So the way that this can look, the Buddha talks about it as being free, a wish to be free from hatred and ill will and fear, actually. The hatred and ill will. So hatred is this aversion we have. We want it to get away, beat it, leave. And ill will is when we, are wishing unfortunate events upon others. And so the first task here, as I see it, is to see how is it working for you, and is it giving rise to suffering for yourself? How does it feel to have hatred? What's the experience of having ill will? The Buddha's teaching is about seeing what's causing our suffering. This is the suffering that we add on to the pain in our life that's inevitable, the ways we make it worse, and finding freedom through our practice from suffering. And we can do this. Forgiveness is one of the keys, one of the practices that the Buddha gave. And well, I don't know, sometimes I say it's not traditionally, I think the part in the Metta Sutta that points to forgiveness is this piece of that we do not despise any being in any state. That's the first one that comes to mind. If you wanted to direct, where is forgiveness in the Buddha's teachings? That we don't despise others in any state, regardless of how they're behaving. So in this practice of forgiveness, we often will use 3 categories of forgiveness practice. And I'll outline those 3 and give some reflection and some direction about them, and then we'll do it together. So the first question is, are you suffering about what isn't forgiven, the harm, the hurt that's been caused? And the first category that we practice when we do the forgiveness is to ask, or to reflect rather, on the ways that we have hurt others, the ways that we have caused others harm, the things that we may have done that cause others to be upset with us. And in the meditation practice, I'll be asking you to reflect on the ways that you've harmed others. And I think this is a skillful thing to do. It's a skillful thing to own our part in situations where we might have caused harm. I've talked about this path is a path of total and complete personal responsibility for the actions that we do on purpose. So we're looking at what have we done? And this in these teachings, there's according to the Buddhist perspective, regret is a good thing, is a useful thing to have. If we contemplate our behavior and we have some regret over it, that can help us in our ethical practice. That can help us with our practice of sila, with the renunciation practices that we do to try to cause less harm in the world. If we have some regret, it's good motivation for our practice. And I think that when we can take ownership of our part, we're just less likely to do it again. And there's something that's humbling about asking for forgiveness, too. When we've made mistakes, when we've done it again, when we've stepped on other people. And this can be big stuff, big mistakes we may have made, betrayals and abandonments and big things. It can be little things too, like not returning phone calls, not returning emails. Whatever it is. So inviting that in, reflecting on it, and then in our meditation practice, we bring this stuff to mind and then repeat these phrases of, I ask for your forgiveness. Towards others. And I think the biggest thing that this helps us with is humility. Like, yeah, me too. I make mistakes. I fuck up. I, am self-centered. I do things to hurt others out of fear, out of anger. So the next category is then the people that have harmed us. So we ask for forgiveness in our meditation. And then the next category is we offer forgiveness to those that have harmed us. And so skillful, I think, to look at our own stuff first. And then maybe when we go into this next category, we may have a little more understanding for others. That just like me, others have been confused and made, bad decisions or decisions that weren't so skillful. Just like me, others have been angry and reacted out of anger. Just like me, people have been greedy and self-centered and not being able to see clearly. It's said that if we don't have an angry mind, if we have these mind of love and compassion, that we won't harm others. So that when others harm us, they're not in their right mind. They're deluded with greed and hatred, usually. Some form of that. So it's important here to not to understand that we're not forgiving the action when we're offering forgiveness to others. We're not forgiving the harm that they've done, the actual action. We're not saying it's okay that I was harmed this way. It's okay that I was victimized. It's not making violence and abuse and neglect and these things that how we're harmed. It's not saying like, oh, it's just all good. It's okay. But what we're attempting to do is see that we can forgive the person. We can attempt and train to forgive the person as a someone who's under the influence of confusion, delusion. And again, this offering forgiveness to others is a way to free ourselves from the suffering about the hurt. Not saying that the hurt that occurred was all right and that it wasn't painful and it wasn't tragic. It was. But that we can let go of that extra layer of suffering about it. And this forgiveness practice is one of the practices of letting go, of the hating about the pain. So we practice with forgiving the actor, the person, not the action. And one of the phrases that's been so helpful for me that my teacher, Noah Levine, taught me is this phrase, and we'll use phrases in the meditation practice. This phrase, I forgive you as much as I can in this moment. A lot of us have really big stuff that we're working on forgiving others for, and it can be, a long process. And we can have some resistance because of the pain. And I found for me this, I forgive you as much as I can in this moment. It just creates a little bit of an opening. Like, okay, maybe I can just the tiniest fraction of a bit. Fine. Willing. And remembering it's not about them. Actually, they don't even have to know. And for some of us, they're never going to know because some of us are working on forgiving dead people. So they don't have to know. We don't, there may never be some grand reconciliation. They don't have to know what inner work we're doing so we don't suffer about what the fuck they did. They have to live with their own karma, the results of their own actions, just like we have to live with the results of ours. So that helps me to just go, yeah, they're going to have to deal with their mess. And it's not my job is to tend to my own experience, my own heart, my own reactivity. So I forgive you as much as I can in this moment. Just creating a little tiny bit of space, a little bit of willingness. That's all it takes is a little bit of willingness. And we may feel some shift, some incremental change. So the last category is forgiving ourselves. For some of us, we find it easy to forgive others. We find it easy to let go of what others have done. Not me. But I've heard some people and some of us have a really hard time forgiving ourselves. Although, some of us we could forgive ourselves really easily. So just seeing where you're at, and if you are a person that has a lot of trouble forgiving yourself, it's okay. You're not alone. Not alone. The inner critic, Mara, that part of our mind that's like criticizing and judging and comparing, that is an unforgiving part of our mind for sure when it comes to ourselves. It's like ruthless, at least mine is. So we turn this attitude of forgiveness toward ourselves. This line from the Metta Sutta, from the teaching on kindness of the Buddha, not to despise any being in any state, including ourselves. How often do you find yourself despising yourself over what you've done, over what you haven't done, over what you're supposed to do? And that same phrase, I forgive you as much as I can in this moment, can often be helpful. So sometimes we are carrying around a lot of guilt and a lot of shame about the things we've done or haven't done. And again, the regret, I think, is a helpful thing for us to have some regret, but the guilt and the shame we can work with. We can heal by doing this practice and giving ourselves a break. Doesn't mean that, it's a free pass and we just go out and do whatever we did to harm others again. We forgive ourselves for the confusion, for the fear, for the anger, for the attachment, the greed, hatred, and delusion that this whole world, the engine of our world and of all of our suffering, is running on. So we practice with forgiving ourselves for all the ways that we've caused our self harm. And this is some emotional heavy lifting. This is turning toward some painful stuff that we've often tried to avoid or deny. And when we do this practice of forgiveness, we can turn toward this stuff. Sometimes you'll hear uh, meditation teachers talk about tending to our experience, being with our experience. And I think this is one of those practices where we sometimes we have these experiences of guilt or shame, come over us, or anger and resentment about others, and we don't know how to tend to it. What do you mean tend? And this practice of forgiveness can give us this method, this way to be able to be with what's painful and learn what we can let go of and how we can actually practice with letting go, a method to try to do it for ourselves. So we're going in today, we're doing it. And I hope that even though we're on Zoom, right, we're not together in the room, but we are practicing together. My hope is that you allow the Sangha, the community, to support you as well in this practice. That we're all going into this territory when we do forgiveness practice that's painful and challenging, and we have some resistance to it. A lot of us, at least in one area or another. And that we as a community are coming together to face this stuff together and do this practice together. And it definitely is against the stream. And so, in the privacy of our meditation, we're turning toward these pains and we're turning towards some stuff that may be unpleasant to recall and attempt to train our mind to do this practice. So we're able to do it in privacy, cry if we need to cry, be angry if we, whatever comes up for us, fine. And then know that we also have the support of the community together. That sitting here doing this work together and alone, that we're not totally alone. And we're in this tradition of people who've been doing this kind of inner work for 26,000 years. I think that's so encouraging to me. All right, so let's do this together. Let's do the forgiveness meditation training together. So we will meditate, and I'll lead you in the practice this morning. So find a comfortable way to sit. Finding your meditation posture on the cushion or a chair, or maybe you're on your couch. And gently close your eyes. And sitting upright so we can stay alert during the practice. So sitting upright with an upright spine. And at the same time, relaxing in the areas of your body that you can soften and relax. Bring attention to the sensations of sitting, just feeling the pressure of your seat on the chair, cushion, or couch, the feeling of your hands wherever they're resting in your lap or on your thighs or knees, the temperature of the room that you're in. And your breathing, attention to your breathing. Today, pay special attention to your breathing at your belly. Softening the belly as the breath comes in and out. Attempting to let go by softening the belly of any holding or bracing. And know that throughout the meditation practice, you can always come back to your breathing. Take a rest, take a break, or if you get lost, just come back to your breathing at your belly, the sensations of breathing in, breathing out. And see if you can find some place of rest here in your breath, of comfort. We do this forgiveness practice to free ourselves from hatred and fear and ill will. Not for the other people in our life, it's for us. And said that holding on to a resentment is like drinking poison, expecting the other person to die. And the poison is the way that we hurt ourselves with the anger and resentment. And the poison is this wish of ill will, hoping that something will happen to the other person. So we can reflect for a few minutes. Does it make it worse? Does it make the pain worse? So now bring to mind ways that you have harmed others. And let it come to mind. Something you feel guilty about, you have regret. And with this person in mind, this harm that's been done, in our mind, repeating the phrases quietly in our mind, I ask for your forgiveness. I understand that I've done you harm, and I ask for your forgiveness. I know that I'm responsible for my actions, and I ask for your forgiveness. And repeating any or all of these phrases over and over, like a sort of mantra or statement of intention. I ask for your forgiveness. I understand that I caused you harm, and I ask for your forgiveness. I know that I'm responsible for my actions, and I ask for your forgiveness. We get caught up in the story in our mind about what happened or didn't happen or their part. Just gently bring your mind, your awareness back to your breathing, and back to the phrases. Here, owning our responsibility. As we develop the skill of asking for forgiveness, we can be less afraid of making mistakes. It helps us let go of guilt. Ask for your forgiveness. I understand I caused you harm. And ask for your forgiveness. I know I'm responsible for my actions. And ask for your forgiveness. Now let go of the phrases and bring your attention back to your breathing. And just rest here in your mindfulness of breathing for a few moments. Just noticing the sensations in your body, resting in the soft belly, breathing in, breathing out. Now bring someone to mind that has harmed you, someone that you may have a resentment toward. You don't have to choose the worst offender today. You can if you want, but feel free to also choose someone maybe that's just irritating or did something kind of small that you have still holding on to, maybe a grudge. Remember that we are attempting here in the practice to forgive the actor, the person, not the action. And with this person in mind, we repeat the phrases: I forgive you. I forgive you for having caused me harm. I understand that you are responsible for your actions, and I offer you forgiveness. And if it's helpful, you can add in the phrase, I forgive you as much as I can in this moment. I forgive you. I forgive you for having caused me harm. I understand that you are responsible for your actions, and I offer you forgiveness. Now let the phrases go for forgiving the other and return to your breath and body. Resting in the awareness of your soft belly, breathing in, breathing out. And now, our last category of forgiveness today is ourselves. Bringing to mind the ways that we've harmed ourselves, that we've let ourselves down, abandoned, or betrayed ourselves. And again, repeating the phrases: I forgive you, or I forgive myself. I forgive you for causing me harm. And if it's helpful, adding the phrase, I forgive you or forgive myself as much as I can in this moment. I forgive you. I forgive you for having caused me harm. I forgive myself as much as I can in this moment. And staying with ourselves, repeating the phrases again and again for the last 5 minutes until you hear the sound of the bell.